Welcome, everyone, to the National Black Heritage Month panel discussion hosted by the University of Houston College of Technology. I am Monique Wiltz, the Director of Student Success for the College of Technology, and this is Wafiq Ahmed, Program Manager for the College of Technology. We will be your hosts for this discussion today about being a minority in the tech industry. Before we get to the bios and questions, I just want to thank our panelists for joining us today for what should be a great discussion. Our first panelist is Grace Disu. Grace is an alumnus of the College of Technology with a master's degree in human resource development. She received her BS degree in corporate communication studies and took the alternative certification route to become an educator. When Grace first started her college journey, she had no idea what career path she wanted to follow. She kept asking herself, which field would grant me gainful employment? Technology instantly came to mind, but she did not know where to start, so God ordered her steps. Grace started her master's program with College of Technology right after receiving her family and consumer science certification. It was not easy finding employment without experience, so it took her at least a year of unsuccessful interviewing before she landed a teaching position in career and technology education with Lamar Consolidated ISD. Grace states that technology is an ever-changing field that keeps growing and thus will keep you employed. She has always viewed herself as a leader and is working hard to fulfill her ultimate vision of training adult learners within career and technology courses. Welcome, Grace, and can you please tell us a little bit about what you do?
Hey, y'all, I'm Grace. Nice to meet y'all. I am a family and consumer science teacher with Lamar Consolidated ISD in the Career and Technology Department. My specialty is actually with the Culinary Arts Program, and I teach hospitality and tourism. And I just think it's real cool that I get to update the students with changes in technology that you can actually use in culinary arts.
Very awesome. Thank you so much, Grace. Our second panelist is Sean Joseph, and he is the founder and principal consultant of Unifier, a full-service software consulting company. Sean is a 1996 graduate of the University of Houston with a BS in Computer Information Systems. He currently serves as a board member and co-director of social media of the Technology Alumni Association at the University of Houston, as well as the chair of the Student Outreach Committee. Sean states that his overall experience that he had at prepared him to deal with the balance of school, work, life activities, and thus prepared him for a career in IT. His passion and expertise are centered in proposing software solutions that optimize the businesses of his clientele and deployment of IT solutions that streamline each business, reducing costs for implementation and support. Welcome, Sean, and please tell us a little bit about what you do.
All right, thanks for that awesome introduction. I'm happy to be here today. As stated, it's an own business, it's Unifier LLC. We've been in business now 4 years, actually going on 5 and 8. Our specialty is custom software solutions centered around Microsoft Azure and the cloud. I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but essentially we try and solve customer problems, integrating their back office, products. So thanks again for the intro.
Awesome. Thank you guys for being here. This is going to be a great conversation. So we are going to kick it off with our first question from Wafiq. Take it away.
Oh, yeah. So, Sean, you stated that you have a business. So our first question is, as a current tech business owner, what advice would you give students wanting to start their own business in the tech field?
So I have, a few key points here. There's a couple of things that you'd want to do. First of all, whether it's tech or non-tech business, because I've done both. This is actually my full second time business. First thing is I would recommend as, a time business owner, if you have a job, try and get a lot of little things done early up front, like create a DBA, open a bank account, those things while you're still working. That'll save you kind of operational costs. I'd recommend trying to have at least about 6 months worth of salary if you're going to go into your own business, because you want to be able to have it funded and not run out of money immediately, which is a huge challenge. Within the IT space, try and find a niche. A lot of people get into the same exact field and competition within the IT space. You have to find out what that is. I can't tell you, but for me, it's been kind of the cloud and doing integrations for customers. So basically, like corporations, they have their accounting department, finance, and sales, integrating those different departments and how they function across the company. That's really our niche market for the past 2 years. Try and get a stay and work with businesses and get some services like a Rocket Lawyer, a LegalZoom, so that you can have your legal needs. Importantly, try and build fast and operate lean. So if an idea doesn't seem like it's money in, may be a reason for that. Don't chase after things that don't seem like they're producing revenue. If you're a small business, if you have the capital, great. But if you don't, you definitely want to try and just operate lean and fail quickly. And then finally, I would say make sure you pursue an idea that you're passionate about. So a lot of people are making money right now with cryptocurrency apps and making NFTs about kittens and this and that. That's great if they get rich quickly. That doesn't necessarily mean that you will. So my advice is, be passionate about the business, because in the long run, that's going to serve you the best.
I agree with that, because like, even though I don't have like a tech business, I have a catering company and I'm also teaching culinary arts. So like when you were saying get a DBA, I did get a DBA, and then I was like, you know what? Let me get an LLC. So I turned it into an LLC. Then you mentioned the bank account. I was like, yes, you definitely need a business bank account. And then when you said passionate, I was like, yes. Your business should always be something that you're passionate about. So like, to add my 2 cents to that, if anyone wants to open or start their own business, my first tip would be to gain knowledge. And then you need to learn patience, because patience is very important with doing something that's very risky. After this patience, you need to trust the process and you gotta apply pressure. And then never be scared to ask for help, because when you're running a business, you're going to start to realize what your strengths are, but you also need to acknowledge your weaknesses, where like people like you come in here and like, there's some things that I know about it, but I know I can't do it. But I know that I'm going to find someone or ask someone for help who can do it. So never be afraid to ask for help. So that's my 2 cents.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. So Grace, and it goes right into line into the next question of what advice would you give current tech students? Maybe it's their first year, their second year. What advice would you give them?
The first advice I would give them is like, try and find any opportunity of experience. Like maybe if the school is like hosting an event or some type of, mixer or something that's going to give you an opportunity to gain experience in the field, take it. Like, even if you don't think that would be helpful, still take it, because you don't know when you might be using this information. And then also, while you're going to these different events and stuff, you need to build networking relationships with people within the field, because it's good that you have experience, but it's also good to know people within the field at the same time. So kind of got to step out of your shell and be willing to grow every day, learn something new, even if you don't think it applies, but it's going to apply to the field. It might not connect today, but later on down your path, you'll see that it was for a reason why you learned all of those things. Awesome. So that would be my advice.
Okay, thank you. Anything you want to add, Sean? What would be your advice?
I'll just add on to what Grace mentioned. So, I've hired several interns from both and H. A lot of times the students, while they're students, don't know about all of the, various aspects of IT. You may know of one area, maybe like help desk, or maybe this area or whatever. But my advice always is research all the areas. Don't just say, oh, I only like this or I only like that. if you, focus too much on it, you may miss out on better opportunities. And some areas have multiple things that you can do. For instance, as a software engineer, and also not just write code, I can do my own quality assurance. So if you have interest in breaking things, you can also break things, even software engineer. You don't have to necessarily be a QA person to do that. So just, the advice is, be on something like LinkedIn, subscribe to as many groups as you can on LinkedIn. I get a lot of technical information just daily and, weekly that I look at, and just always be informed of the market so that you can make your own best decision for what you're interested in.
So Sean, you talked a little bit about the hiring interns on and pretty much them having or trying to learn different skill sets. So what do you believe will be like the most important skill sets currently for students about to graduate and go into the tech field?
So, I mean, there's, as I said, a lot of different areas that you can focus on. Something that's popular right now, obviously, is, Web3, metaverse, cryptocurrency. They're good niche, markets to look into as far as what they do is, with software engineers or quality assurance or, any of those data positions that could be in those fields. But again, when I came into the industry, it was totally different. So you can't rely on a particular aspect that's current right now. You have to think long term. So your real focus should be on what your career path, either that's an engineer or a QA or whatever that may be, and then applying those skills to the latest market. So I pivoted from the non-internet era to the full internet era, to mobile app era, to the metaverse era. So because my skills were solid in software engineering, so they could continue to translate across.
I agree. You have to be willing to adapt to instant changes, especially with technology, because things change every day. You have to have that willingness to keep changing with the changes.
So basically making sure that students are constantly adding on to their skill set and constantly pursuing new skill sets, but also staying consistent in their career area, like you said, Sean, so that they are marketable and able to toggle between different ways.
I would definitely say if you're going to pursue anything in IT or in technology, just be prepared to be a lifelong student. So study 2 to 3 months out of the year, just on my own time, not because I have to stay up to the latest and greatest. So be prepared for that.
All right. Lifelong. All right.
Lifelong. Learning is lifelong, y'all.
Learning is. This question is for you, Grace, and really for both of you. How have you viewed the tech industry change regarding equity and inclusion? Because we're talking about change. So how has it changed regarding those two areas that you've seen from your experience?
Well, I would like to say that there's a lot more women. Like normally when you think of IT or you think tech, you instantly think it's a man. We have meetings once every 6 weeks for my department in career and technology. There's like only 2 men in the meeting and it's a whole bunch of women. But then it's not just women, it's a very diverse group of women. So there's more women, it's more diverse. And not only that, like with technology, there's more opportunity for everyone. So that was one thing I noticed instantly. I was like, wow, there's so many women in here. It made me feel good. Like, okay.
I would say just for me, kind of the same thing. So again, I've been in the field now since '97. So I've probably seen, different changes here and there. But when I feel for sure there are many African Americans represented at all in any area of IT. And if it was generally in the lower pay group, which is, generally level or help desk. Definitely, I've almost always been the only African American person, male or female, as a software engineer through the first 20 years of my career. But here within the last 5, especially maybe starting about 2016, 2017, starting to see, representation of African American, Hispanic, various underrepresented groups now. And this is across, I work with companies across the country, so just here in Houston, and I'm seeing that across the country. So I definitely think companies are making an effort, but at the same time, we also have to make the effort to learn the technology and learn the things that are necessary. It won't be served on a platter. As I said before, you're gonna have to study for it, and you definitely be prepared, when those just come, that you're able to, take advantage of the opportunity.
Lifelong learner, right? If
Right.
they take anything away from this conversation, it's lifelong learner.
That is it.
Thank you.
So one of my final questions, and it could be for both panelists, how was the interview process for you all? Like going from graduating, I know Sean, it was a couple years ago, but just graduating in that interview process, how does that look for y'all? Or was there any challenges faced with that?
So, if I can go on that one, that's actually a very key one in software engineering and the software space. So your software interview process will 90% of the time be harder than the job. And that's just an old joke that used kind of in the industry, but it's a kind of truism too, because companies are going to want to see that you can do the work that they need you to do and that you can do a lot of supervision. So you're going to get grilled on things, sometimes ask me questions for, software things that I learned in 1998. So, one of my things is stuff on my resume. I can't remember every single thing that I've done, probably in 25 plus years. So forgive me if I forgot something from 1999. But the thing of it is, you have to know all those things. You have to be able to go in there. And like I said, right before an interview, I said like it's finals, right? I'm up. I have some different opportunities coming up here in the next few weeks, and I'm have to be, for the next few weeks, just to be ready. It's that difficult to software engineering position because of competition, but mostly because of the interview. So you just want to be prepared, be yourself. They can't take that from you. That's from an old movie, places. But I just thought I'd throw that in there. But yeah, you really do. I mean, that's the honest truth. You got to be yourself, but you have to be prepared. You have to be ready for the questions and the interview process.
I think I know that movie, Sean, by the way.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy classic. But yeah,
yeah,
that's
awesome.
my answer.
Yes, you have to be prepared and you have to be confident as well, because you really might not even know what you're saying, but you have to be confident that you do know what you're saying. I'm making complete sense here. But then again, that goes with being prepared. Literally before I got this job, I was watching so many YouTube videos with different scenarios of things that I've never experienced before, because you never know what type of question they're going to ask you. And they want to see if you're going to give an answer that is what they're looking for. But how would you know if you don't have the experience? So it's like, you have to look for that experience from other people's experiences. And I think that's what took me so long to get a job, because normally I'm great on paper. Like, I have the certification, I have the degree, but then sometimes that's just not enough. So that's why I was suggesting, like, if there's any events or things or internships available to give you some type of experience, you should always take it, because it's going to come into play later. Even if you don't get the experience from an internship or not, you still need to look for experience so that you can be more confident in owning the role that you want.
Yeah, that's a key one. So internships, even if you were to do just some volunteer type internship, they really look good on paper. It shows active work experience that you've gained. Most of the interns I've hired are now working at, major Fortune 500 companies like FedEx and Amazon after they were employed with my company, because they were able to show that they work for an actual company. So it definitely looks good. And then another thing to add on to something Grace said, when you're doing your preparation, networking is going to be very important. Actually, I find there's a lot of U of H alumni hiring. I've gotten 2 or 3 positions, I'm pretty sure, because the U of H person was hiring. So networking is always going to be key. And then finally, another thing that you want to do, look at the job description. They don't put those together just for the sake of having the job description. generally it's going to have some key details in it. If you see something like Microsoft Azure, and they go in and one of the first questions they ask is on Azure, and you're like, oh, I'm not sure what that is. You're setting yourself up for failure, right? Read the job description, take notes, do research on topics.
Yes, the job description is vital.
Very important. Thank you. Thank you both. I do have one final question, if that's okay. Why is it, and this is for maybe some of our students who are wondering, am I in the right major? Is this for me? Is CIS for me? Do I want to do supply? Why is it such a great time to be in the tech industry and pursuing a tech career?
Simple, because you want to get a job. You don't just want to get a job. You want to get a job that you're going to enjoy. You want to get a job that is helping you and helping other people. And you just want to be fulfilled within your role. That's pretty much it. Technology is where it is. It's 2022. Only God knows what technology is going to look like 10 years from now, but it's a promising field. And I'm actually excited about learning new things within the field, especially in the culinary aspect. So I'm excited about that. So you want to work in a field that excites you. And honestly, to me, technology is very exciting.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, kind of the same thing. The excitement, for me, when I go to work is still there. Having done for 25 years and you're still excited when you get up in the morning to do those challenges and tasks, it says a lot. So be passionate about it. It doesn't have to be software engineering. It doesn't have to be, this one or that one, but find the one that you're excited about, because you definitely won't feel like you're working if that's the case. But as far as technology, while it'll remain important, I shared this one before, almost every company that you see has an internet presence, has a mobile app almost. And now companies are getting into the metaverse. There was just an article today that JP Morgan is opening up the metaverse. Well, not a bank, but they've opened up some, a building in the metaverse. So there's going to be more opportunities, things that we haven't even thought of yet, things that, you don't know that will come up. Like there's no way I could predict it about mobile apps when I started. So there's going to be 30 new things that you talk about. Said things like, well, artificial intelligence will, replace all the processes, but I don't think that's going to be the case. There'll always be a need for IT professionals.
Thank you to both of you, Sean and Grace, for taking the time to talk to our students and let them hear your perspective and your experience and your advice. It's really important for them to know that there's something at the end of graduation that is possible and that you love doing what you're doing. You got to work for it.
It's not
right.
Given to you.
Correct. Lifelong learner. Correct. And I want to thank you on behalf of the College of Technology. We will have your, like you mentioned, Grace, be connected. Both of you are on LinkedIn soon. So that could be a way, students, for you to connect and link with both of these professionals. And we do hope that this was of value for you. And thank you again for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
You.